you're getting into a zone where maybe you choose to slow down your corporate life or your profession, but in the interest of wanting to do other things. A lot of us are grappling with these kinds of questions to which we don't have answers. We just have thoughts and ideas. Hi, all. Welcome to this new content series of mine, What If You Live to Be 100? I am Sanjay Mehta, your host, your anchor. And this is sort of a pilot episode or episode number 0 of the series. What if you live to be 100 is a question that might generate some kind of intrigue in regards to what am I going to talk about. Well, the thought came to me a few years back, even as I kind of sensed that the span of life is increasing. But longevity as a concept was not as much talked about as you see it happening today. But in general, I could sense that people are living longer. That brought up the question that if one lives several more years than what one would have planned, what would life be like? And do we really know what do we need to prepare for? In between, of course, this gentleman called Brian Johnson has also sort of spearheaded this idea in terms of living to be 100 or even more. And many others in the world today are working on, biohacking their life to try and extend it. So for me, it's not so much, that is not the direction that I'm talking about. I'm not here to also sort of talk about the various biomarkers and parameters that one needs to track so that one can somehow find a way to live longer. No. For me, it's just much broader of an idea that our generations, people, let's say, people like me, I'm around 60, but people anywhere from 50, 55, 60 upwards in today's day can easily see potentially life up to 85, 90 or maybe more. And if you are in that age of 50, 55, 60, then you must appreciate that you are nowhere close to a so-called retirement or, thinking about winding down your active career or wrapping things up. In fact, you are bang in the middle of your life and you have a very, very large number of years ahead of you potentially. And if that's the case, how are you prepared for it? A lot of our school and college groups where, we are all of a similar age, typically have different topics that become much talked and discussed as our age changes. So from good old days when we got out of college and started talking about, first jobs and then maybe at some point getting married, having kids and all those things, to a point when you're in the 50s and later 50s and 60s that you start talking a very different set of subjects. And today, I think one of the more commonly talked about idea is the idea around that length of life, what it takes, what are the issues. One may not particularly talk about length of life in, I'm going to live 80, 90. It's not that. But if you are 55, if you are 60, how are you grappling with different facets? Now, there could be a facet, for example, that, at this age when your parents are 85, 90, and potentially, not in the greatest of health, needing help, needing care, some of them passing away and might need to be sort of, there are issues around wealth transition, whether the wills were there. So a whole bunch of issues around taking care of parents. At the same time, your own self, you're getting into a zone where maybe you choose to slow down your corporate life or your profession, but in the interest of wanting to do other things. Now, if that is the case, if your solid income is going down, are you ready, your corpus of wealth to last you for a lifetime, even if that lifetime is another 40 years? What about inflation? What about things which you not expected happening in life which demand money? Are you still ready? How are you prepared? How is your money invested? Is it invested right? So there are discussions which often happen around that. There are a lot of discussions which happen around health. because this is again a very sensitive age when sometimes some you up to 50, 55, even if you were not very healthy, the symptoms didn't show up as much because you had enough energy and you managed to carry on. But maybe the first niggling issues start showing up, whether it's a knee, whether it's being borderline diabetic or other facets, right? And for men as well as women. So those kind of conversations come up, the conversations which say that, hey, I should have taken care of my health a lot more or a lot better 20 years back. I didn't do that. What can I do now? Is there anything that I can still do so that the next 15, 20, 25 years I have least issues? So that kind of comes up. Sometimes people start thinking about the dream life now, having worked hard, having slogged for the last 30 years, 35 years maybe. You start aspiring for a different life. Maybe you want to travel the world. Maybe you want to pursue your passion. Maybe you want to give back to society through social work or whatever. So those kind of ideas start getting discussed, and some of them again involve health, wealth. If you want to travel the world, are you mobile enough? Can you actually climb, do treks, or go up to those kinds of places? Or do you need to also have a tour which is catered to your age or your health situation? There are issues around relationships. There are issues around, if you didn't do your profession or you got out of that full-time work, what would you do to basically spend your day? And sometimes when you've been working 30, 35 years, you just want to stop that, and you even think about, hey, I will just play golf and watch Netflix. Believe you me, it is no more than 3 months that you'll find that you can't live that kind of life. There has to be something else. There has to be a bigger driving purpose to life, right? There is something which can take up your hours, but that's not the same as what motivates you to wake up in the morning and get a great start to the day. For that, there's a need to have a purpose. Everybody has a different purpose, so it's not one size fits all. So anyway, the idea was that at this point of time in life, a lot of us are grappling with these kinds of questions to which we don't have answers. We just have thoughts and ideas. I don't have answers, but I know a lot of these questions are going through my mind, are becoming points of discussion with classmates and other friends. And I thought this was an important enough subject around which to create this content series. And that's what I'm getting started with today. Over the next several episodes, I want to bring out different aspects, different issues, different concerns. And somewhere I may have a point of view, somewhere I have just a question. But my idea is to bring all these questions into the forefront, into the realm of discussion. And I look forward to having many of you participate, give your version, give your perspective. And maybe, if not individually, maybe collectively, we have answers, and make sure that the next 15, 20, 25 years for all of us are perhaps the best yet that for our life. So if you're with me and you think this could be an interesting journey, I look forward to having you read this content, because I'm going to put it out in text, I'm going to put it out in audio as well as video. So whatever format, whatever medium works for you, I look forward to having you consume the content and participate in the discussion, and let's try to evolve and answer to the various facets of life around what if we had to live till 100.